They say there's a place deep in the woods where the air feels heavier, as if the trees themselves are holding their breath. Whispering Pines, a forgotten grove, cloaked in perpetual twilight, where sunlight only dares to trickle in. It's not on any map, and most who stumble upon it say they wish they hadn't. The tale begins with a man named Victor, a solitary wanderer, with a face weathered by years on the road, and boots that had seen better days. Victor wasn't the type to scare easily, not after years of sleeping under open skies and outrunning storms. But even he couldn't ignore the chill that crawled up his spine as he approached the grove. He'd heard about Whispering Pines from a barkeep in the last town, a place where travelers disappeared and lantern lights danced like fireflies, beckoning the unwary deeper into the forest. Stay clear of it, the barkeep had warned, eyes darting nervously to the door, as if the forest might be listening. Victor, however, was a man who thrived on mystery. He'd seen his fair share of legends debunked, and wasn't about to let some old tale deter him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Victor found himself at the edge of the grove. The trees here were ancient, their gnarled branches twisting into skeletal shapes against the dimming sky. Just as he was about to turn back, he spotted a faint glow between the trees, a lantern swaying gently in the breeze. Curiosity gnawed at him. Against his better judgment, he followed the light. The deeper he went, the quieter the forest became. The usual hum of insects and rustle of leaves faded into an oppressive silence. Even his footsteps seemed muffled by the mossy ground. Yet the lantern remained, always just out of reach, flickering like a distant star. Finally, he came upon a clearing. At its center stood an old wooden cabin, its windows darkened and roof sagging with age. The lantern hung from a post near the front door, swaying as if held by an unseen hand. A faint smell of damp earth and something metallic lingered in the air. Victor hesitated, but his need to uncover the truth outweighed his fear. He stepped onto the porch, the wood creaking under his weight, and pushed the door open. Inside, the cabin was sparsely furnished. A table with a single chair, a cold hearth, and shelves lined with dusty jars, filled with indiscernible contents. But what caught Victor's attention was the journal lying open on the table, its pages filled with cramped handwriting. The ink looked fresh, as if someone had been writing in it moments before. He began to read. To whoever finds this, leave while you still can. The lantern is not a guide, but a trap. It lures you with its light, only to feed on your darkness. I've been here for weeks, months, maybe years. Time doesn't flow here like it does outside. Each night, the lantern whispers my name, telling me secrets I never wanted to know. It knows my fears, my regrets, my sins, and it thrives on them. Victor's hands trembled as he turned the page, but the rest of the journal was blank. He heard a sound then, a faint whispering, barely audible yet impossible to ignore. It came from outside. He stepped back onto the porch, his eyes scanning the darkened woods. The lantern's glow had grown brighter, its light casting long, unnatural shadows across the clearing. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and Victor realized they weren't coming from the forest, but from the lantern itself. "Victor!" it called. 1,000 voices layered into one. "You've brought such delicious secrets. Panic set in. He turned to flee, but the forest seemed to close in around him. The path he'd taken to reach the grove was gone, replaced by an endless maze of trees. The lantern followed, floating closer, its light pulsating like a heartbeat. "Victor," the voices repeated, "let us see your darkness." Memories began to surface, unbidden and vivid. The mistakes he'd buried, the guilt he'd tried to forget. Each step he took, the lantern revealed more, stripping away the walls he'd built around his mind. He stumbled, falling to his knees as the weight of his past consumed him. Then, just as he thought he couldn't bear it any longer, he remembered the journal's warning. The lantern feeds on your darkness. With every ounce of willpower he had left, Victor forced himself to think of something pure, something untouchable. He closed his eyes and pictured his mother's face, her warm smile, the way she used to hum lullabies as she tucked him in at night. The whispers faltered, the light dimmed. Victor stood, his resolve hardening. He reached out, grabbing the lantern. Its surface was cold, and the whispers turned to screams. With a deep breath, he smashed it against the ground. The light extinguished instantly, plunging the grove into darkness. The oppressive silence lifted, replaced by the familiar sounds of the forest. When Victor opened his eyes, the cabin was gone, and the trees no longer seemed menacing. Victor stumbled out of the grove as the first rays of dawn broke through the trees. He never spoke of what happened that night, but he carried the memory of it with him, always. And though he continued his travels, he made a point to avoid any place where lanterns swayed without cause. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, don't forget to leave a like, and if you crave more chilling narratives, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Until next time.